Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Box with the Technical Trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Tuesday night, the 29th of November. These are the charts of the day. Well, it was an interesting day on Wall Street today with a strong rally to new highs and then a last hour hard rollover. A lot of stocks did very well today, but that last hour close was not what I was looking for. And if that is the case, there could be a downside follow through. We'll see how it goes. It could have been just some profit taking. The bottom line is there's still a lot of stocks on the long, and I'm going to show you some shorts tonight as well. So let's sit back and take a look at this. ACRX, excuse me, it's a stock I've liked since it went public with a 5-wave advance here. And it came down in a falling wedge, popped and based out for several months, almost 8 or 9 months. Recently it broke out, and I mentioned to you guys a few days ago that I thought this could be one of those stocks that either gaps up to 50 or drops down to 10, depending on the results of the chart, which may be coming soon. I'm hearing it's very positive, potentially. The stock jumped 210 or 7.5% on 660,000, which is strong buying for that stock. Targeting the post-IPO high comes in around 33.88. That'd be my first target. And obviously, if there's any big news, the stock could explode. 4.9 days to cover in addition. Good old ARRY, our swing trade from back here in October, which dipped with the rest of the biotech but held out pretty well and reversed above the 50-day moving average and support. Broke out there and kept running, and right now you can see the stock's in a rising channel, jumping another 4.4% today on almost 4 million traded. There is overhead resistance up here near the February 2015 highs in the 855.60 range, which if it gets through, and it may do that shortly, this could explode towards 10 and 12 or more. This one has 3.73 days to cover short. CC has been phenomenal all year. Chemours has gone from literally 3 to 24. 8-fold increase in less than a year. So it's long in the tooth. It is near the top of what looks like a channel. But after a 2-day pullback, it popped right back today, 87 cents, of almost 4% on 2.6 million. I don't think this is done. I think the angle of the pattern may be accelerating, and this could very well get into the low 30s. Let's look for something around 27.8 for starters. Collucid, one of our swing trades, snapped back today nicely, 235 or 7%. Mine wasn't huge, but enough to get me interested in that it may come out of this wedge. If you can see the rising bottoms line connecting these lows, these 4 lows, 1, 2, 3, 4. This held, and now the double top here is the around that level near 40, 40 and a half would be your resistance. If we get up through that, and that's my near-term target, I would look for something in the high 40s, near 50 even. And then perhaps down the road somewhat closer to high 50s, 60. Clovis, not too dissimilar, looking well with a pop and a pullback, and you can see that the consolidation flag pattern in here or platform as support around the 33 and a quarter range. It looks like it wants to pop out after 2 weeks of consolidating, and if it does, keep an eye on the 37 and a half level. Once you get above that, this stock can take off. In the mid-range channel, and lateral price resistance 46 would be my target. Keep an eye on Clovis. 5.5 days to cover it. It could fuel the fire. Obviously, resistance at the spike high 40.29 is going to be some resistance. DWTI, well, I still think oil, and tomorrow's a big day for OPEC, but I think oil could possibly have a somewhat of a negative move downward, and this may pop. And I'm looking for a gap fill that gets us near the mid-80s and then the mid-90s. We'll see. It should be very interesting. EXEL looking outstanding, and this long-term run-up, falling wedge explosion, and flag tells me the stock's going higher. I'm looking for 21, 22 short-term. iRobot extending its big move of late, going from the mid-30s to the high 50s. This spike up today of another $1.89 or 3.4% on 800,000. The second biggest volume is traded since July. For me, tells me that it may be too far too fast and near the top of the channel, and it has reached my target near 59, 58, 59. So I think at this point, we look for a pullback. With momentum the way it is, no reason to sell until we break support. Candy woke up the last week. Take a look at this. And today they had a really nice announcement. The stock has gone from 3 3/4 to 5 3/4 in a very short period of time. And there is resistance up in that 615, 650 range. Up there, let's call it 645. And that would be my short-term target, and then maybe a pullback retest. Ideally, we get a support around that 5 level, and any pullback, if it consolidates in there, I'd look for more upside Near 7.5, 8. There's almost 15 days to cover on this one. Long-term declining top line comes in as well. This goes back a couple years, and that test would take us up to 7.5, 3/4. Match.com doing very well. Look at the wedge it formed that pop out today. It jumped 86 cents or 5% on 2.8 million, looking like it wants to retest the 1975 high that it reached a month ago. Secondary target is 21. There's 6 days to cover on this one. What a day for Novum. Exploded at one point up 5.5 points before pulling back. Nevertheless, a new breakout or a breakout to new all-time highs across resistance here with a breakaway gap. This may very well see low to mid-30s short term. Keep an eye on this one as well. Sucampo, the swing trade, yesterday pulled back. Today had a nice positive inside day. I'm looking for more. I want to see 18.5, 21, and 23 3/4 over the next month or two. That's what I'm looking for. 5 days to cover on that one. Now, in addition to the DWTI, the SCO also looks intriguing. And if obviously they both move, the near-term target would be a triple top resistance level near 102, 103. SPU, well, late in the day today, take a look at this. Stock exploded from 770 to 935, backed off a little bit, but it's trading after hours at 910, up about another, net on a day up $1.50, and a big day for that one. Go back to the daily chart, you'll see the falling wedge over the last 4 months has been popped through. If it does get an extension, watch this tomorrow, back up towards 11.25.5. That could be my first target, followed by 14 if it goes crazy like it did last time. Stay tuned on this one. THO, an explosive move to the top of the channel on monster volume on a strong report. Exploded this 1140 or 12.6% on 5.23 million, the biggest volume ever traded. Now, could be a short-term peak. It may need to pull back and relax, but I think this kind of breakaway gap to new extension is going to consolidate and move higher. Would not be shocked to see this in a 115.20 range short-term. TTPH, coming through the base pattern and inverse head and shoulder, right-handed extended V, whatever you want to call it. Notice how it held the moving averages as they crossed over and popped out. Now, there's a little double top up here near 4 3/4. I need to see if that gets through that. If you do, I'm targeting 535 and 625 short term. That has 7 days to cover. TTWO popped out of the wedge and ran for $1.61 or 3.3% on 2.8 million. Decent volume, invested in about 7 sessions. Looks to me like we could see 52.3. We may even get it up to mid-50 short term. There's 6 days to cover on that. And lastly is Westmoreland Coal looking great. This broke out across a key resistance level today and closed there. It wouldn't shock me if this stock now made a run up there to 22.3 range up there. 22.5 is my target. Let's switch over to box of shorts and see what's cooking there. A few stocks I want to discuss. ABMD. Now, biotechs may need to rest, and in particular, this one, although it did bounce, is in a rising bear wedge and with pretty ugly technicals. Once you break the trend line and get this kind of a 50% retrace in a rising bear wedge, you may very well get a rollover that takes it substantially lower. I would not be shocked that at some point this stock ran into this zone. That's my next target, down here around the 90, 92 zone. Well, look what broke down today. ATHN got slammed under 100, dropping 602 or 6%. It's now the lowest level the stock has reached since 2013, a 3-year low. I've been telling you guys that I feel that this stock is in the topping mode. It may have some accounting problems that haven't surfaced yet, but at least that's what my hedge funds are telling me. This one looks ready to really get hammered. Cooper, well, this head and shoulder type top, breakdown, snap back to resistance, little bear flag in here, with lousy technicals. Keep an eye on COO because Cooper Companies looks to me like it can come down towards the mid maybe 151, 153, and then eventually down towards high 130s or even 138, 140 would be my intermediate target. DXCM, Dexcom, ugly down move. When you get that kind of a down sharp move on big volume, you often get a snapback that tests resistance. Well, this one not only tested the declining top line, but it filled the gap. Today, got whacked for 264. Looks like it's going to retest the lows at least near 60. My eventual target is closer to 50. FLO in a nasty 1, 2, 3, 4-wave move. This is a large 4-month, 3.5-month type of bear flag. Stepping back and looking at it this way, you'll see that it has ample room for dropping down into the 10-12 zone. That's what I'm going to be looking for, maybe 10-11. Lululemon, boy, this thing has really gotten hurt since its earnings report, and not only did it break its intermediate uptrend, it took about a year to develop. With the breakaway gap to the downside, it barely even bounced. It had formed a little bear wedge in there, now it's formed a big bear flag. If it doesn't hold support at 54, this may very well see 43, 45 zone the next target. Mercado Libre, massive top formation was broken, and now I'm seeing what looks like a bear flag in here, see it? So if the declining top line holds, which it looks like it's going to, and this thing starts to roll over, we can see a retest of the mid 140s and then get it down in the mid 120s. I'll be looking. And there's Red Robin, which at some point got all the way down to that 45.5 range from where we first gave it to you up in the 79 range. Took a year to get there, but it got there. And then it had that big snapback. Take a look at the double bottom and the triple top here and the declining tops line. So for me, this is the key resistance zone, and it tried to get through twice and it's backing off. It dropped a bit today, but if this falls down again, we could see a retest of 47 and then back towards 41, 42. Easy stop on this one, because if it does get above 53.5, we could stop it. And lastly tonight is TFX, which has a very distinct breakdown, bear wedge, breakdown, bear flag. It's wave 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fifth wave could be starting. I would look for at least a retest of 135 and maybe get it down to 124 or less. But for now, that's the long and short of it. And this is HP saying good.